going to give you a little talk now about ventilation and filtration, including the use of carbon dioxide monitors. So, as I've said, this virus is present in the air. It enters the air when we breathe out. When someone who's infected, whether they know it or not, exhales, those viral particles will then become suspended in the air and be potentially available for other people to breathe in. So if we're indoors, what we need to do is ventilate. We need to open the windows. We need to open them wide. We need to perhaps open a door as well to get a through draft. Or if the room has two windows on opposite sides, that's usually a very good way of getting a through draft. Now, we monitor how well we're ventilating a space by using carbon dioxide levels. And this isn't really very hard. You may remember from school that carbon dioxide is produced by us as humans, and we breathe it out in a small proportion in our exhaled air. And what that means is when you measure the carbon dioxide levels in an indoor space, the higher the level, the higher the proportion of exhaled air in that space, in the air in that space. Now, of course, it's a proxy measure, but as a rule of thumb, a very well ventilated space will give you a carbon dioxide level below 700 parts per million. Outdoors, it's about 420 parts per million. That's as good as it's ever going to get. Now, as more people breathe out into that room space, and if it's not ventilated, the levels are going to go up. 700 to 800 perhaps is moderately risky. Between 800 and 1200, that's really getting quite troubling, and above 1200, you don't want to be in that room because those levels indicate that there is a high proportion of exhaled air, and some of that exhaled air may contain virus. So that's, broadly speaking, the carbon dioxide monitoring. Now, that's no good if the room is actually has an air filter, because the other way, apart from ventilating, that you can clean the air in a room is by filtering it. And the filtration doesn't remove the carbon dioxide. So if you're using filtration, you can't use CO2 levels. I should say that the levels recommended by the government through the Health and Safety Executive for what level do we need to actually take action on are a little bit higher than the ones I've recommended. And that's because they were set historically for a completely different reason, largely to make the building feel less stuffy, to make sure that people weren't feeling tired or having headaches, and to get rid of the smells from human body odor, that kind of thing. Now, that's a different use of carbon dioxide levels from just giving us an indicator of the exhaled air. So we do need to bring those levels down. And I would encourage you to use a level of 700 parts per million to prompt action to either ventilate or filter. So let's get on to filtration. Many buildings in the UK do have internal filtration systems, and they are covered by a set of regulations on which I'm not an expert, but I've learned a little bit about them. They have something called a MERV rating, which is minimum energy efficiency rating. And the MERV level in most buildings is about 8, but we really need to push for a MERV level of about 13, which indicates a higher level of filtration. So MERV 13 is the thing you need to think about when you're looking at the quality of filtration in your building. You also need to make sure that whatever's removing the air to filter it, or removing the air, doesn't just recycle it through an air conditioning system. So it's fine if it's filtered out, but not if it's recycled into the room. Now, the other thing to talk about is portable air filters, because many buildings do not have inbuilt filtration systems. And so what we have to do is buy a portable air filter, plug it in, and then stick a filtering device, what's called a high efficiency particulate air, or HEPA, HEPA filter. And once you've got yourself a portable air filter with a HEPA filter inside, then you will find that the virus will be filtered out at a very high level, and that room will be much safer. For example, there's one study recently that showed that if people in the room are wearing masks and that you're using HEPA filters, you reduce by about 30-fold the levels of airborne particles in that room. So the combination of masking and HEPA filters is a very, very good way of making rooms safe. Hope that was helpful.